Hey, I'm Rejected Shotgun. So, Orisa just came out on PS4, Xbox One, and PC with her live release, and a whole bunch of other changes to heroes like Ana and Winston have happened and been pushed out into the live servers as well. There's a lot of changes to cover in this update, so let's get right into this. Orisa finally just released, and she's out on all live servers off the PTR. Finally, that means for all you console players out there like myself, now Orisa is available to you. You can play her on Xbox One and PS4. She's on the roster now. You even should get a little welcome message when you boot up your game. She is finally out. So, as most of you probably know, Orisa was out on the PTR for some time where she was being tested out and having her abilities tested to make sure, they're not overpowered. One thing doesn't break a certain character. The developers, of course, don't want the game to stop being fun just because they added one character who has an overpowered ability. And Orisa was tweaked a little bit on the PTR as well. She had her ultimate cooldown adjusted a little bit, as well as her clip size. Her clip size was adjusted. It used to be 200, but now it's been taken down to 150, and Orisa is pretty damn balanced. She's a blast to play against. And in the footage here you see it's a 6v6 Orisa pretty much going on in the no limits hero mode on the arcade, and that is a blast as well. If you really want to try out Orisa, I recommend getting out there on that no limits mode. It's not exactly representative of how Orisa will actually play in game with a full 6 stack with just one Orisa on each team, but it's a lot easier than trying to get into quick play and pick out of 6 people and then a bunch of people leaving and quitting because they just want to play Orisa. It's much better, and even if you don't win, it's still a blast. Now, Orisa is going to fit in really nicely on the console. Some characters like Lucio require you to rebind your controls and honestly are a lot more fluid on PC. However, you won't really run into this problem with Orisa on console. Everything works really well, the controls are bound well, and like most characters, she just fits in immediately and there's no problems at all. Now, a lot of people didn't realize this, but there's a lot more changes that came out in this update other than Orisa. In fact, there's a huge changelog, bigger than most of the changelogs we've had. So they adjusted Route 66 a little bit. You get an extra minute on Route 66 when you cap the first checkpoint. This is significant, as a 60-second increase will give you a lot more time to push onto the site and a lot more time to defeat the enemy team. There were a lot of little tweaks and updates to the custom game browser, which is very interesting. They fixed a lot of bugs, and I won't get into that too much because there's much more important updates to talk about, like the Ana nerf, which is now live but has been tuned down significantly. Ana's biotic rifle's damage is the only thing that was changed about it. Healing, nade, or anything, none of that has been changed. In the end, Blizzard just decided to take the damage from Ana's biotic rifle and turn it down just a little bit. Normally, Ana's rifle does 80 damage to enemies, but now it will do 60, which is not a crazy decrease. That's really quite bearable, and hopefully this helps out in what Blizzard thinks Ana needs to be changed in. Junkrat no longer dies from his ultimate. That's pretty incredible, because if you want to kind of go in there and suicide bomber, drop the bomb right on the enemies and fire, it usually doesn't work out, but now there's actually a chance that you can pull off some crazy stuff there. Sombra's buff is absolutely fantastic. When you hack health packs, your teammates can see the health packs through walls anywhere, and it's absolutely amazing. Your teammates now know there is a fast respawning health pack, and they know exactly where it is at all times. As well as this, Sombra's translocator, which normally took 6 seconds to use again, now only takes 4 seconds. Her stealth voice lines, when she goes in and out of stealth, also are harder for the enemies to hear now. Because she's like, see you later, and all that stuff. Sombra is hiding somewhere. Not anymore. 15 meters is the radius on that. You won't be able to hear Sombra's voice lines outside of that distance, so you won't know when a Sombra across the map is going invisible anymore. Now, Winston and Zenyatta's buffs are also in here. Winston's barrier now immediately starts recharging as soon as you place it, rather than just going off cooldown as soon as the barrier breaks, which that gives you an extra 4 to 5 second head start on that barrier cooldown, which is a very, very significant change, and I think Winston's going to be a lot more fluid when you play him because of this change. Now, Zenyatta, most people don't use his secondary attack, which is when you charge all the orbs up and then you fire them. Well, now this secondary attack has been changed significantly. When you fire it, your guy has to kind of sit there for a second with his hands extended before he kind of composes himself and is ready to fire again. It took an entire second for that cooldown to happen. Well, Blizzard nearly cut it in half. It is now down to 0.6 seconds, so you won't feel like you're kind of sitting there stupidly when that happens. Also, the weapons spread, which is basically how far the orbs end up veering off to the side, the weapons spread has been completely disabled on that ability altogether. So wherever you're looking is where those orbs will fly to. And I have a feeling this might get a little annoying in matches with Zenyatta's who managed to perfect this ability, because if you go around the corner at the right time and fire that exactly in the right spot, there will be no weapon spread and the enemy will die almost instantly. If you land all the orbs on a squishy character with only 200 to 250 HP, they will die instantly. Now, this update had a lot of bug fixes and little things here and there, like there's some AI improvements, some general improvements. Even the custom game browser got some really cool bug fixes, but I'm not going to read that all off today because there's a lot to cover. If you're really interested in all the little details on this update, there's a link in the description where you can see all these patch notes for yourself. It's on Blizzard's forums, and this is actually where I'm reading it off of right now, so I left that in the description if you want to see them for yourself. Anyway, there's not too many changes left in this update to cover that are really important. Like I said, you can go check out the minor ones for yourself, but that's all I've got for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. I would really appreciate it. And if you really like this video, you could totally subscribe if you want to see more content like this, because I'll be putting out multiple videos a week about Overwatch and all the newest happenings in the community. Once again, that's all for this video. I'm RejectedShotgun, signing off.